Are you ready?
It's almost week 3 of the NFL. We still have 2 games tonight. Me and Jason are on to week 3 of Survivor. We made it. So we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do this upcoming week. But Jason, how are you? How did week 2 treat you so far?
Week 2 was another fantastic week. The Seahawks came through in a big way. The Buffalo Bills crushed it, not only for Survivor and us, but I bet a 7.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8, 9.5. I don't know. I bet everything, every number that was out there. They smoked. All the contests went well. So we're ready to rock onto week 3. We take the wins. We're happy, but we move on to the next day.
Yeah, we did a nice little week. So if you're a listener of the show, I think my picks on Monday, not including Monday Night Football, were 4-6, and then the prop show I was 5-6. Pretty proud of myself there. Nice little outing. Hopefully we can have a good week 3. Good Monday Night Football. What do we do this week with Survivor? I know we talked a little bit about some of our options. I think that when I looked at it, I starred Baltimore. I think you mentioned Seattle. I am coming around to that, especially want to see like how Carolina plays tonight. Chiefs and Dallas. What are you thinking now that the Sunday is done?
Yeah, so the dust settled a little bit, and I think that the text messages that we sent back and forth yesterday, I may have jumped the gun on kind of what I was thinking. So I went through my process this morning. Can I just read through the entire process and then we'll try to make a good decision here?
Please do. I think we'll need a graphic of it at some point so that people know the process that you've been taking to get to this point.
All right. So again, basically my theory here is, at least early in the season, I want a home team with a big spread and a non-divisional game. There's a lot of those in week 3. So trying to nail it down was a little bit difficult, but here are all the games that fit right now, given the spreads that are out there. 49ers on Thursday Night Football versus your Giants minus 10.5. Jacksonville versus Houston, Miami versus Denver, Baltimore versus Indy, Detroit versus Atlanta. There's a lot. Cleveland versus Tennessee, pending what happens tonight. Green Bay versus New Orleans, Seattle versus Carolina, again, pending what happens tonight on Monday Night Football. Kansas City against the Bears, and then Cincinnati against the Rams. I had 4 immediate cross-offs amongst those.
Okay.
Miami minus 6.5 against Denver. I think that, Denver's 0-2, and they gave that game away yesterday, but they're too good of a team for me to want to go against right now.
Yeah.
Detroit versus Atlanta, I took off. I think that Atlanta could win that game outright in different situations. Green Bay minus 2 versus New Orleans. I need to see more for Monday Night Football. I actually bet on Green Bay minus 2 already. I think they're going to win that game. But again, we got to pen Monday Night Football. And those teams are a little bit too close to take here so early in the season. And then Cincinnati minus 2 versus the Rams. I actually bet this at 6.5 last night before this Burrow injury came out. I'm happy about that number. But, if Burrow's not close to 100%, I don't want anything to do with the Bengals right now. So they're out. The too easy to take game right now is Kansas City. I want to save that team for later in the season. And then, we're into week 3. It's like 60% of the field is left. We have to start thinking about these teams that are playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas and Black Friday, and we have to figure that in to our math here. So the teams that are left, Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco, and Seattle play on either Thanksgiving or Christmas. So if our theory is we want to save those teams as long as possible and not use them unless we absolutely need to, we need to break the in case of emergency. So that leaves, weirdly enough, Cleveland and Jacksonville. And I think the best play is Jacksonville. They don't play on Thanksgiving or Christmas. They're 9-point favorites. They're home. The only thing that it breaks is it breaks the divisional rule. Yeah. I also got screwed on this game last year in week 5 because I took Jacksonville versus Houston, and Houston won outright in Jacksonville. So that's the part that scares me here. But I think this is the right spot. I think that Jacksonville's a good right for a bounce back after that poor Kansas City game. I need to see the injuries, but unfortunately, that's kind of where I'm leaning right now.
And I think that I agree with you. And I think after this weekend, everyone knows I have like this really weird kind of creepy love affair with the Houston Texans. I don't know what it is. They're just a team that I like to root for. I think that they're feisty. I think they can cover any spread that kind of comes their way, but we're not picking the spread. We're picking who's going to win. And I think that, if Jacksonville were to lose at home to Houston, they might have some bigger fish to fry here. Like there might be something that we need to sit down and look at, like why did you lose to the Houston Texans? So while I think they can stay in the game, they played very well against Indy. Jacksonville is a better team than Indy. So I'm kind of with you on that, especially because you do have to look ahead to those holiday games.
Let's say that we wanted to throw in a holiday team here. So the teams that fit that would be Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco, and Seattle. I'm not going to let us do Kansas City. That team's not right yet, and I want to save them for when they are right. So then you got Baltimore, San Francisco, and Seattle. Seattle, we need to see what happens tonight with Carolina. But, that team looked really good yesterday. I don't know what's going to happen with their tackles, which is a little bit scary. But, it's difficult to win in Seattle, especially if you're not a divisional team and play there all the time. San Francisco, we saw what your Giants did yesterday. Great comeback, but they have a lot of issues to fix. They're going to be without Saquon Barkley, I'm assuming, for week 3. So that's kind of a layup as well if we want to go San Francisco. And then Baltimore, I don't know what the deal with Anthony Richardson is going to be for the Indianapolis Colts, but that Baltimore team looks ready. And it's a big spread. They're at home. That Indy team is not good, despite the fact of what they showed yesterday. If Richardson's out, I think that's a layup too. But, if we can avoid the holiday teams, I would prefer to. That's kind of my take right now.
I think of those, I maybe lean Baltimore there, but then at the same time, Baltimore is still pretty banged up. Like they look like a good football team right now, but that game right now is a little bit of a stay away, not because I think that Indy is going to have a ton of success against Baltimore, but we're getting to this point in the season where we see this happen every year. We don't know some of these teams' identities yet. And it could be week 3 where it's like, oh, maybe week 1 was a fluke. Maybe week 2 was a fluke. So some of these teams that we haven't seen, whether it's a new offensive coordinator, whether it's a new quarterback, or whatever it is, so be it. Maybe there's players coming back from injury. For me, I think I'd rather stay away from that. I think that we can say we know that, teams like the Bears do not look like they are a good football team. Other than that, some of these teams, it starts, you just have to be careful with those holiday games.
Yeah. So lean right now, early in the week on Monday, is Jacksonville. Okay. And if something weird happens with Jacksonville and we feel uncomfortable with it, we'll pivot to, sounds like either Baltimore or San Francisco are the easy ones. In Seattle, let's say, for instance, I don't know, Miles Sanders or Brian Burns gets injured tonight. That makes Seattle a whole lot more appealing.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Bryce Young going out doesn't make them more appealing because Andy Dalton's the backup, and he's probably just as competent at this point.
Right.
So, if Brian Burns goes down, we would have to talk about Seattle seriously. But right now, I'm with Jacksonville.
Okay. Let's roll with that for now. We'll obviously keep talking and see what happens tonight. Speaking of tonight, I don't know. We can roll the gambling with gold. We'll include it in there. Let's get the intro in for this.
Yes, intro. Honestly, my favorite part of the week now.
Oh, beautiful. Let's talk about Monday Night Football. What are you looking at here? 2 interesting games.
Very interesting games. I anticipate there will not be a lot of scoring tonight. So if you need a lot of points in your fantasy matchups, good luck to you. You might want to say a prayer to whoever you believe in. Carolina and Pittsburgh teaser pieces is what I need the most tonight. I paired them with a lot of them. I've been really successful on teasers thus far this season, especially yesterday. It was awesome. Carolina at +9, Pittsburgh at +8.5. Those are the numbers that I need. I think they're good bets. I think Pittsburgh will bounce back in this spot. I have a bet on them at +2 and +2.5.
Yeah.
Carolina, New Orleans, I'm unsure of. I don't know how that game's going to go. Props that I have for tonight? We want to bet some props?
Oh, yeah, we do. And I'll let you know, because we didn't talk about it. So For us in Survivor, the bet for us, we want the Saints to lose. So that's the most entries remaining, the 136 there. We were hoping for the Giants, but I thought at one point the Giants needed to die so that we could succeed in Survivor. But yeah, so for us tonight, we want the Saints to lose. But yeah, let's rip into some props and then I'll give out a few as well.
All right. First one, we'll go in the New Orleans game, over 27.5 receiving yards for Juwan Johnson. I think it's a good matchup for him. Was not targeted heavily in week 1. I think he will be part of the game plan in week 2. Stay in that game. I'm going to go with a small special here. Let's go Derek Carr to throw an interception. I figured this would be on your prop sheet somewhere. This is a lock. He's going to do it tonight. Just like we called the Jared Goff interception after that long streak, Derek Carr is going to come in and absolutely do it tonight for us. Last one for that game. Adam Thielen, longest reception under 16.5 yards. I'm so out on Adam Thielen this season. I don't think that he can get a long one down the field.
Yeah, and I think part of that too is just this. I mean, this Carolina Panthers offense in general is a little, I don't know. It's nothing's too exciting. I think if you want to bet someone on the offense as far as Carolina goes, I'd look to Hayden Hurst, his receptions. I'm sure that number is starting to get outrageous. I'm pretty sure I gave it out on Friday. This bet tight end is going to end up being the rookie's favorite guy tonight. You know, he was seven receptions last week, and then he was also was targeted in the red zone with the touchdown. So if you want to play first touchdown, anytime touchdown, I wouldn't be against it. So, you know, what I've been seeing a lot of on Twitter, and I know I do this and I try not to get too bratty and fade everyone, but people are looking really heavy at Olave tonight. And I get it. JC Horn, blah, 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 blah. I think people are discrediting Rashid Shaheed a lot. You know, I'm looking at his over 2.5 receptions, over 37.5 receiving yards. If you took it Friday when I gave it to you, that number's actually come up a bit. Last week, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. The only other receiver that was targeted in the red zone was Michael Thomas. So I'm also very much okay with you taking him anytime touchdown plus 340. I think the easy look is Olave, but I think that you get more value here, you know, with the other wide receiver there.
I don't hate it. You saw, if anyone watched the video of Derek Carr, he seemed to go to Shaheed a lot, and they seem like they have a good connection already. So I don't mind playing that at all.
Yeah, I'm all in on that. I think now the number isn't somewhere that I like Jamal Williams anymore. Saints defense to score. I kind of like that a little bit there. We saw Bryce, forget how many he threw last week. I think only 1, 2, maybe. I think that there's maybe an opportunity there for them to score. The number's pretty nice as well. What are you looking at for this Pittsburgh-Cleveland game? I am in the same boat as you, where I think that this is a get-right game for Pittsburgh, like we saw a lot of teams this week.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because I think it's a good get-right spot for Pittsburgh as well, but it will be an indicator of how good Cleveland is. I think before the season we talked that I really like the Cleveland Browns this year. I thought they could win that division. I like their over 9.5 a ton. I think there's a really good team. If they come out here and smoke the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm interested to see if we're going to learn more about that the Steelers are bad or if Cleveland's really good.
Yeah.
I think this defense is legit. And that front four is excellent, which leads me to my props for this game. This is all based on the fact that Cleveland is going to bring a lot of pressure and Kenny Pickett is going to have to escape and dump down the ball very quickly. So let's go Kenny Pickett over 13.5 rushing yards. I think he breaks out a couple ones in this game. And then Najee Harris over 11.5 receiving yards. You could also do Warren if you're more in on Warren. I think that Najee will be in the game enough during these situations that he'll get 2 receptions, 3 receptions, and go over the 11.5. I did bet Najee Harris over 1.5 receptions also. That number's now at 2.5.
Yeah.
I still kind of like it. I think that the line of like 3 for 18, 3 for 20 is probably right in his wheelhouse tonight. So those are the 2 props that I have for that game. The other interesting one I'll monitor. So Amari Cooper looks like he's going to play tonight, but looks like he probably will not be 100%. If he's not 100%, who else do we want to target on that side of the ball? Deshaun's got to throw it to somebody. So either we take Chubb rushing yards over that he's just going to smash. I think it's 83.5, 84.5 right now. Or do we look at Elijah Moore or David Njoku to have some success through the air. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have Njoku first touchdown. I think that Njoku, again, like he is, I'm kind of excluding what I saw last week. I saw someone put in, Danny Locks put in here, DPJ. I have bet that number 2. I don't know if I got a 35.5 or something else. I know I should be in at Elijah Moore, but I lean DPJ just because of what we saw at the end of last season when Watson did come back here. Chubb is a very easy, like if you want to throw him into a like anytime touchdown type parlay, I think that number started to get out of control. So I have him in some of my parlays, I think at alt lines, but I'm probably just, not that I don't think Chubb's going to have a big game. I just am, I'm not really interested in the numbers that are left there. I like to look at Watson over 24.5 rush yards, -110 last week, 5 carries for 45 yards. He was averaging about 9 yards per carry there. I get that Tomlin's not going to let what happened last week again. I totally mixed up my words there, but you guys know what I was saying. The defense is going to come out more aggressive, but at the same time, like I've said over and over again, I don't think we're getting Watson back the way that everyone thinks that we're getting Watson back. Watson is not coming back to form the way that you thought of him, a couple of years ago. So I think he's going to rely on his feet. If he gets into the end zone, wouldn't surprise me either. But 24.5 is a pretty low number for a guy that has been a little shaky when it comes to, getting the ball downfield, and he's probably going to rely on himself.
Yeah, the problem that I have with that bet is I saw a tweet from BetMGM that said that 99% of the money is on the over on that number rushing yard. And that's basically like you can't bet it sort of situation.
Why do they ruin everything? The public has to ruin everything, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, so that number's out of control for me. I probably won't bet that, but the angle's fine. I think that Deshaun's probably going to average somewhere between 25 and 30 rushing yards a game this season. So I think that any of those numbers below 24.5 on the season are probably fine.
I also like the Kenny Pickett number that I have in a parlay somewhere. And then looking at the Steelers wide receivers, it's interesting. I did, again, like not advising anyone to go out and bet these, but I have taken probably every Calvin Austin number that you could possibly find. 6 receptions, 37 yards, his longest 13, I think, somewhere around there. It's again, it's very easy to look towards Robinson, towards Pickens. He actually had one more reception than all of these guys. Over 2.5 receptions made, -143, longest over 14.5. I'm okay with taking the under there. Over 25.5 receiving yards, though. I love that. Anytime touchdown +650. There's a lot of ways that you could play this, but Calvin Austin, for people that have been following me for a while, is one of my favorite prospects. He is so quick and very slippery. I just think that this is a guy that, Kenny could rely on, and you saw him getting him the ball as well.
Did you fall in love with Calvin Austin at the Senior Bowl? I'm pretty sure that's the story. Okay.
Yeah. I went down there and I was like, I just remember being like, I'm not interested in like even watching this guy, but he was impossible not to watch. He's smaller. That's why people don't like him, which is fine. Some of these guys that are smaller, if you're quick, it doesn't really matter. So interested to see what he does. A lot of things that you can look at with Pickens too. I bet a couple. I think I have his over 3.5 receptions. That was plus money still. 40.5 receiving yards, might go back to that again. He was targeted inside the 15. So Pickens is another look as well.
Yeah, Pickens, I think the only thing I would bet would be over longest reception. He just doesn't seem to get the volume necessary to hit any of these other numbers. So if you think he's going to hit a bomb down the field, I get it. But otherwise, Pickens will stay away from me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. One dart I did throw, and this is again spicy. I'm trying to have fun on Monday. I had a good weekend, so I'm like ready to just blow all my money. I did bet Connor Hayward anytime touchdown. He snuck in one game, another of my Senior Bowl guys. But again, I'm not advising anyone to take this. This is just for fun, betting on my guys after a good weekend. So
love that.
Yeah. All right. What are you looking at? Looking ahead to week 3, what bets have you placed already? I'm sure that you have placed quite a few.
So I haven't actually played that much. A lot of it's because we're getting into the part of the season where like injury reports, I needed to look at some stuff. But I did bet, like I said, Rams +6.5, last night. It's at 2 now. That's all based on the Burrow injury. There's a chance that I would buy back if it looks like he's going to play. Anything below 3 on the Bengals, probably a good look there. I bet a teaser, Jacksonville -2.5, Baltimore -1.5. I think both those teams get it done in week 2 or in week 3. And then Green Bay, I bet at -1.5 and -2. I think it's sitting at 2 right now. I think they win outright against New Orleans. Again, a lot pending on Monday Night Football, but I'd rather get ahead of that number. The number 2 or -2 is assuming that New Orleans comes out of this game healthy. If they don't, you're getting a massive line advantage here. Same kind of goes for Seattle. That line moved up a little bit, but I was trying to bet it at -4.5. It looks like it's a -5 now. Same thing with the Monday Night Football thing. And then also, I've been debating this a little bit. I think that Pittsburgh is going to win next week in Las Vegas, but a lot of the sharps are liking the Raiders in that game, making me rethink my position there. Might end up flipping to the Raiders at some point. But that's a game that I have my eye on. Other ones that I'm kind of looking at down the board that jump out, maybe it might have to be the Denver Broncos. +6.5 at Miami right now.
Yeah.
Denver looks really bad off 2 losses, but I think that there were some positives to take out of that game. They did jump out to a big lead. Russell Wilson looked good in the first half. That defense surprisingly giving up 35, the Commanders. Good job, Eric Bieniemy, getting that offense rolling, but Sam Howell still doesn't do it for me. Anyways, beyond that, Denver +6.5. That just seems like a high number. If that gets to 7, it's a -105 right now. It might get back to 7. I'd probably hit that number at 7.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I think Washington, again, like some of these teams, and I'm not saying it's going to be Washington. Before I had some Commanders fan in my mentions. I wasn't even tweeting about the fucking Commanders, and this guy came at me. I don't even know what the fuck it was about. But I'm not saying that this is going to happen to them, but there's going to be a couple of these teams that start out the season like 4 and whatever, and then you just see them fall off a cliff. We see it happen every single year. So some of these teams, I need to see a couple more weeks before I'm putting my money on it. Things I've looked at, haven't bet anything yet. I know there was one total I wanted to run by you. I think I looked at Tennessee +4 versus Cleveland. Talked about Tennessee last week. I just think that this is a team, and maybe betting on coaches a little bit here, but I think Tennessee can get it done, and they've found ways. You have Derrick Henry. They finally used him as they should have. But I think Tennessee is going to be a game they continue to play up to competition. I don't know. We'll see how the Browns look tonight, but I think that Tennessee could cover that. No problem there in Cleveland. Okay, so there was one total that stood out to me that feels like a trap. And I know for people that watched our show that we did last year, Dallas at Arizona. Okay. We know Dallas has just been Dallas looks fucking awesome. It makes me sick. I don't want to, it's fine. They're destroying teams on the ground. They handed it off 74 times, like between the 2 wins. It's literally crazy. That total is at 43.5.
I have it at 44 on DraftKings right now. Okay. It's interesting because Arizona's defense looked good in the first half. They looked good against the Commanders. Then they looked like shit in the second half. I feel like the ownership called down. It's like, all right, call off the dogs. We need this loss. We need to get the number 1 pick and get Caleb Williams. Dallas is definitely going to run the ball a lot in that game. Dak has looked pretty good. He was, he didn't need to be good in the first game versus the Giants, and he was fine. This week, he was fantastic against the Jets. That's a really tough defense. He looked really good. Yeah. So Dallas is probably going to put up 30 easy. Do we think that Arizona can put up 2 touchdowns on this Dallas defense? They looked good in the first half yesterday, but I'm not sure that Arizona's going to score more than 7 to 10 points in this game. So 30 to 10 kind of sounds right. That's an under. That would be where I'm leaning, but I don't know. You could convince me on the over pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm there yet. I think that Arizona surrendered 31 unanswered points in the second half to the Giants. So that concerns me because you look at what Dallas did to the Giants. Well, I think that the Giants were able to make adjustments, and you're going to see them not necessarily be getting blown out by teams. I think that they'll come back to like equilibrium a little bit, whether they underachieve or not. I don't think that you're going to see, and I mean, for my sake, I hope that was just, a fluke thing, and we're getting away from, the ghosts of Joe Judge past, which is what it felt like watching, essentially Jason Garrett's offense that first half. Another game I'm looking at, and I actually want to get your opinion on this coach. Actually, talk to me about the Chargers. Like, what was your takeaway?
Oh my God. My takeaway is kind of what it was last year. Staley finds a way to lose these games. He's got a loser mentality.
Yeah.
And, I like what Kellen Moore has done a lot on offense. I saw a stat this morning. The Chargers are the first team in NFL history to go 0-2 after scoring 50-plus points and no turnovers in their first 2 games. And they showed week 1 versus Miami. And we saw the Patriots last night. They didn't have a lot of success on the ground.
No.
Kellen Moore's system can adapt to any sort of defense they're facing. Herbert threw for 300 yesterday. He was good. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams had good games yesterday. And then on the other side of the ball, Eckler was out, but in the first game, they were gangbusters. This defense, and the secondary specifically, continues to be maybe the worst in the NFL right now. Yeah. And we're talking about a coach who made his living being a defensive mind, an elite defensive mind for the Rams and then with the Broncos before. So I'm not exactly sure what's happening with them other than they're just old on that side of the ball, and that doesn't play in modern NFL. They're in a lot of trouble. I would not say that they're dead yet. They need to get this win versus the Vikings on the road. But also that number of 54.5 seems pretty high to me.
Okay, so this is the only bet I took. I did get a 50.5. So that number has obviously
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. I didn't know that it moved that much. That is
54.5 right now.
Okay.
That is a big number. Oh, last under that I like. I just saw it on the board, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Chicago, Kansas City, under 49. What are we doing here? Chicago's offense doesn't look good. Kansas City clearly isn't right. Meanwhile, Kansas City's defense is awesome out of nowhere, and they got Chris Jones back. He looked like a menace to society yesterday. So give me the under 49 in that game. That seems way too obvious.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. And just quickly going back to that Minnesota game, I think I would even take that over 54.5. I think this game is going to get out of control. I think that both of these defenses have not shown to be good. We know that they the amount of moronic penalties that by the Chargers in these crucial moments is killing them. And while, people talking about Staley first coach fired, I kind of think that they're going to use Derek Ansley as probably the scapegoat. And I think he'd probably be the first one to go before they do anything. But the Chargers have given up 36 and 27 points their first 2 weeks versus Dolphins and Titans. And the Vikings have a more explosive offense. This number is going to get crazy. And I don't think the Vikings can answer on defense against them. So this might be an absurd game. It might be an interesting game to look at to go into overtime, but that'll be a later in the week type play. What do you think about that Philadelphia at Tampa 45.5? I don't know if it's moved since I wrote these numbers down.
It's 46.5 now. Okay. Tampa Bay's defense looked pretty good. Minnesota's offense is explosive. They held them to 17. That Bears offense might actually stink. Justin Fields can't see any open receivers. So we'll see with them. Honestly, Tampa Bay is playing really, really well right now, but this seems, and everybody's down on the Eagles after going 2-0 versus 2 pretty tough opponents.
Yeah.
Kind of like the -6 in that game for the Eagles on first look. 46.5. I'd probably stay away from that. A little lean towards the over.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not. Where are you at with Baker? Because
he looks good.
He looks great. He does. He does look great. I will give him that. He looks awesome. And I'm very happy for him because I know it sucks to be one of these guys that just gets absolutely brutalized by the media. My concern is he needs to string together more than 2 wins before I'm going to start crowning him as back, because we've also seen guys like Sam Darnold go to a new team and do that, have success early. This has happened, I think, and I'm just not quite there. While Baker looks amazing, he's also set up for success in that system. So, and he's barely getting pressured. So I'm just a little weary on being in on Tampa fully yet.
Well, here's the thing with Baker, and I heard this point last night. I thought it was pretty interesting. Their new offensive coordinator was the quarterback coach for the Seattle Seahawks last year. And obviously we saw a comeback performance from Geno Smith last year. There may be something about this system that has worked for these sort of quarterbacks that have a lot of talent, were down in the dumps, came back. And if you look at what Seattle's offense had last year and what the Bucs have this year, last year, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. This year, you also have two excellent receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both of who had good games yesterday. Baker could be in for, I'm not saying he's going to be comeback player of the year type good, but he could be a legitimate NFL starting quarterback in this league under this offense. So I wouldn't write off the Bucs quite yet. I think that they have a really good chance to win this division.
Yeah.
But I still think the Eagles come in there and they probably get it done in a big way next Monday night.
All right, cool. So we're thinking Jacksonville. I'll update you. We'll post about it, who we end up taking there. Before I let you go, where do you think Cam Akers is going? Because he's getting traded.
Working checkout at Trader Joe's.
Okay, probably the Vikings, but same thing.
I mean, he's going up as like a second or third running back on some middling team, probably.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. See you next week. We'll post I can post our bets. If you're still watching, like and subscribe. I'll let you get out of here, Jason. Thanks for coming on as always.
Thanks, Moss.
Yep. All right, mixing it up here. If you do not know, my dear friend, Nicky the Good, current free agent like me, co-host of the Meat Pop Express, former producer at Barstool for the Mean Girls Pod, fellow Italian. What's going on?
Everything's going on. Fired up to be here. It's a long time coming. For those of you who need a little bit of a background, I knew Steph when she had about 1,800 followers. And I just saw this girl online just saying all these things she was going to do to Daniel Jones. And I was like, this is incredible. I was like, let me throw her a follow. She's going to med school at the time. Fast forward a few years, she's got about 30,000 followers, and she has little old me on her show. So thanks, Steph. Fired up.
Oh my gosh, no, you're my favorite. It's so funny. You interact with people forever, and then you don't really know their story, and then you get to know them. I think that back then you were a very much anti-Daniel Jones guy for a very long time. Are you a little bit more in on him? Yesterday was stressful, by the way. I was fucking stressed.
So I think I've been on record, and I've DM'd you on the side just to explain myself, because I live a life of gimmicks, right? So what you see on Twitter isn't always what you get. But the fact is that Daniel Jones is an extremely talented quarterback in the NFL. The Giants are just they've just been a really interesting situation when it comes to building a team. Right? Like, you have the star running back, but the defense has been shit. And then it's like everything just goes back onto the quarterback. He just shows, when you just let him do his thing and he just throws the playbook out the window, he's one of the most, like, when he's great, he's just like unstoppable.
Literally. And what kind of pissed me off yesterday was
because I have a few tweets up
my God. You should have seen. I actually am working on a graphic of like the timeline of like my emotional state, because it's quite hilarious. At one point, I'm like, fire up the 0-17 fucking bets. This is done. But what pissed me off was, first of all, what was that team in the first half? Like, what? I don't even know what that was. Arguably a better roster with no change to the staff, yet it was like a clown show.
That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, that's what I was watching. I felt
like it was Jason Garrett all over again. Like, it was awful. First quarter, I went upstairs. In the second, I did not watch the second quarter. I was listening to it. The TV was on very loud downstairs. But I had to start drinking a little bit. My stomach hurt. It was awful, because I'm like, there's no way we're doing this again. Like, I did not go through all of that to have the O-line still, we're going on over like almost a decade now of a bad O-line. Like, it's been so long, but they're just not let Daniel Jones, you paid this guy. Let him do his thing. He's one of the best deep ball passers in the entire league, and you're not letting him air it out.
He fits balls in such tight windows. It's incredible. And I will give him credit live on air. You can cut this, you can clip this, you can keep this for future record. But the reality is that, like, he's precision passing when he's on. He throws a great deep ball. If you just give the guy even a little bit of time, he's just super dangerous. That first half, though, he had no time. And the Cardinals, who they're supposed to be a team that is dog shit. They're supposed to be an awful team. They were just running on us at will. And it just came to the point where, like, I was just getting so frustrated that I had to walk out of the room, and I just couldn't watch what was actually on television. That's the emotions of a Giant fan. And I feel like I've been that way. I feel like I've been in this Giants purgatory for like 5 years at this point, literally the Daniel Jones era. I think that's part of it, is that he is just guilty by association with this regime of the New York Giants. And that first half was like a microcosm of what we were feeling. And then the second half is like, is this the guy that we drafted, like in, 6th overall, whatever it was? Is this him?
Right. Is this the team that I was expecting to see at least half of that? But you come out, his stats for the second half could have been the whole fucking game and it would have been totally fine. They weren't putting him in the right position. But then once you start taking the training wheels off, that should be off because we drafted him how long ago? It's time to take them off. I won't go through the record he broke yesterday, first quarterback to do this, and this. I know he's capable of that, but you have to put him in the right situations to be able to do that. And he wasn't. Hopefully Saquon, is okay. Where do you see the season going the rest of the time? Because I don't know. I am not getting rid of that first half. Like, I need to see them not get blown out by a team like the 49ers.
I don't think it's going to be great. I'll just be honest because the Cardinals stink. They should stink. There's we're so much better in my mind. The Giants roster is so much better than the Cardinals. Like that game should have never gone that way. We should have never been in that situation. And with Saquon down now, as you're seeing the plays he's making, if he's not on the field, we don't win that game. Like Matt Breida is not going to the pylon like that and making that play. Like he's not changing the way a defense approaches you. With Saquon on the field, he changes everything. And I'm a little pissed off at him because, listen, dude, just go down, man. You just did it the play before. You literally just laid on the floor. What extra yardage are you trying to get that you put yourself in a situation that you get rolled up on like that? And it's just heartbreaking because what a great win. You needed that win. It was a must-win win in San Francisco on Thursday, playing San Francisco on Thursday. And now here we are. It's like now we're just, again, uncertainty around the New York Giants, uncertainty around our star running back. The reports are out there. It's not a hang. You went to medical school or you were going there, whatever it is. You came out with a diagnosis yourself. Where do we sit? It's again, I'm just in a state of unknown of how to feel about the New York Giants. Yeah,
it sucks. And it's again, and historically, like when we have had success, I know that like this is what it looked like, but I'm kind of fucking tired of it. Like I just want to be the team that people are like, oh shit, we're playing the Giants. Like, and I just want to go in and know we're gonna win and we win. Instead of this, like, we always have to take the longest fucking path to get there to win the game. It's very frustrating, especially in our division. We have the benefit of being in the NFC, but I think the NFC is actually tougher than people realize too. And our schedule doesn't get much easier down the stretch. It's pathetic that game 2 was already a must win against the worst team in the entire league. Now, you have 49ers. Hopefully, I hope they rest Andrew Thomas. Rest Saquon, get them both back to go back home for Seattle, because after that, you're on the road to the Bills, on the road to Miami. I think it's the other way around, but the schedule doesn't get much easier. It gets easier the second half of the season, but again, like you gotta win. Like it.
I know exactly what you were saying before when you said like I just want to like be the team that like, oh man, the Giants are in town. It's like, where are the days, like, obviously I'm older than you, but like when the Giants just showed up with our defensive, with our pass rush, and we were like, we are going to wreck your quarterback today at will. Like there is nothing you can do. And that's how I feel watching the Cowboys. I'm like, this is how it felt, when we had all those studs on the defensive line. We would go into a game and we'd say, listen, they might be better than us here, there. But if we just put pressure on the quarterback, we'll win. And that's how we won the Super Bowls. That's how we beat Brady. We just put pressure on the quarterback. I don't feel like we do that anymore. We've gotten away from that so much. And it's like, I don't know. The Giants' identity has just been up and down for so long. And it's like New York Giant football should be something on a Sunday that you're like, all right, here we go. We're the class of the city. And it just has not felt this way. And if it wasn't for Rodgers going down on the 4th play, I kind of feel like we would be little brother right now, like for real.
Yeah.
And obviously the Jets did us a favor with that one.
Oh yeah, and growing up, and you'll appreciate this, like Sundays was very much, and this is when it was like fun to watch the Giants still. It hasn't been fun for quite some time. The end of last season was fun if you take away the Eagles playoff game, but like you just shut the fuck up, ate your spaghetti, ate your meatballs, and you watched the Giants. And it was like the one time everyone got along, like we're all watching the Giants. It was a really good time. Happy memory as a child. I was saying to someone yesterday, I'm like, if I didn't have all those memories, like through my childhood, through college, like I probably would have been like, peace out. Like, I'm done with this team. This is crazy. Obviously can't do that. Born and raised, very loyal here, but I am kind of feeling like we're just like running in circles now. You know, Evan Neal looks like shit. You know, I get this regime is new, but you know, we have no pass. There's a lot going on here, and it's still a lot to fix. And this freaking division keeps getting better.
And it's hard to fix, and our division is not a good one to be in when you're trying to fix a bunch of stuff. It's just not. I mean, the Cowboys are just showing it. Like, boy, like it's like you said it before. I was listening. It's like it's aggravating watching them and their fans be able to pop off because of what they're doing on the field and how they're playing. It's just exciting football to watch.
Yeah.
It's like I turn on a Giant game on a Sunday. I have no idea.
No idea how it's going to go.
I'm going to get. And then after the game, if they play well, I don't know if I just got served fool's gold or if this is the real deal. Like, I just do not know what to think. And that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I am happy I got the window because 0-2, man, it's just a little bit like, oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess what's the next season? What's the other sport? Well, at least it's 21. And it's like, even if you take a trumping and friggin' against San Francisco, you're still like, all right, it's 1-2, whatever. Like, we're okay.
I'm not ready to start looking at draft prospects. I have enough on my plate right now. I don't want to do that yet. So, and it used to be where, you know, when we were still shitty, they would always give us this glimmer of hope because we beat a team that we shouldn't beat. So I hope that that's the case this year. They're able to put together a good game plan. Maybe they're still figuring each other out, whatever the hell it is. I gave you some bad advice that maybe wasn't as bad as advertised.
It wasn't. We can get into it. You want me to give the background, or you want to
give the background?
Me? All right, yeah. So Wednesday night, I have an absolute conundrum on my hands. I play, for those of you who are watching, I play in a 16-team half-point PPR league. So we're talking deep. Like, you legitimately are starting a guy each week that may or may not get touches. So my roster right now, I drafted Kamara, so I'm waiting on him. But I got my man Deion Jackson fresh off a no-show 2 fumble, and I got good old Rashad Penny. That's my roster construction, right? That's the RB2 slot I got to fill. I put out a poll out there. Everyone said, play Penny. And I said, no. I know exactly who to go to. I throw a little DM to go, Steph. I was like, I need advice one-to-one. I need real advice here. What would you say? And she ignored me for a little bit. She was doing something, probably building her empire. But finally, she's like, send me a screenshot of your team. I need to visualize it. So I send the screenshots. I send them, and then I wait again. Yeah. And then she gets back, and she says, go Rashad Penny. He's a goal line back. You know, Gainwell's not playing. And then I watched that Thursday night, and I get a whopping 1.9 points. But little did I know.
Yeah.
Deion Jackson would get a fat 0. So
yeah.
Thank you, Stephie Small. This is it right here. These are the goods, right?
I know. I was so nervous. I'm like, you know, Zach Moss is back at practice. And when I went to check, I'm like, God, I don't even want to look because I didn't get to watch that game as closely as I would have liked to. But I have to rewatch it still. But I saw Deion had nothing for you. So I felt a little bit better. But what the fuck is going on? Like, who is on waivers? Like, can you get in on this action? Maybe if Saquon isn't, you know.
So Breed is out there. So you're going to talk. There's going to be a monster bid on that. I won yesterday. I'm 1-1. But in a 16-team league, you're looking at scraps.
Oh, it's thin.
These guys, I'll bring it up while we're here. Yeah. But like,
it gets gross out there. Like, I'm wondering, like, is even Zach Moss still there? Like,
Zach Moss was drafted.
Oh my God.
That's what happens in this type
of.
These are the running back names that you're going to get in a 16-team league. The let's see, projected points here. We'll go there. So we got Funk.
Okay.
We got Boston Scott, Dotson. Mm-hmm. Latavius Murray will be someone who's picked up because he got some burn.
Interesting one.
Juice Vaughn, Michael Carter, like the Royce Freeman. This is what all that's available on a waiver wire in a 16-team league. And that's why I ended up having to choose between Penny and Deion Jackson. You're trying to find people that will just get snaps.
Something. Yeah.
That is literally it. And it's the same way for, wide receivers and quarterbacks. Like, it's difficult. That's why it's like, for me, fantasy is a little bit different, I feel like, than everyone else. Because it's like, you don't have a backup. Like,
no.
One guy go like the Barkley owner right now. we'll probably need to put like, where the traditional is like, oh, I would put 25% of my fab on it. No,
yeah,
5%.
Yeah.
You're not getting it. Yeah.
Oh, and it's such a challenge to be. I have a 16-team super flex league that I'm in. I won last year, and my quarterbacks were Jimmy G, so Sam Howell, and Baker Mayfield. Like that was my quarterbacks, but I still managed to win, which is lovely. But maybe look at, I don't know. Do you think Deuce Vaughn will go for a lot? Because they have some nice matchups. They look
He'll
good.
be picked up, but Breida will command a massive amount of dollars. It's just like because you just need W's to get in, because it's our league, the top 8 make it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
There's no buys.
Okay.
So top 8 make it. You just need W. So it's like, hey, if Saquon comes back in 3 weeks, those 3 weeks, Matt Breida may be the difference between you winning and losing. So you have to make the move to get the W's, and then you just worry about what happens come playoff time. It's my favorite league though. Like we're going like long time now. I don't want to age myself, but like long time for us. And yeah, I have that. And I'm in one other dynasty league, and that's all I can handle at this point in my life. I got 2 kids, Hour of the Dad, the whole deal.
Yeah.
I got 2 kids. I'm a married man. I got an Italian wife, so that's all the time I got.
How'd you know? You just queued me up to be able to give you this question here. So if you don't follow Nick yet, you should go follow him on Twitter at Nicky the Good. That's
it.
No numbers, no 69, no 420. Okay. No. Yeah. So at Nicky the Good, he's a hilarious follow. You have a lot of shticks, which is nice. I also have a lot of shticks. A great time. Makes you very you're very personable, very relatable. Hour of the Dad. Yes. And I was up at Hour of the Dad today. I was up.
You were up before it.
Yeah. 3:42. I was ready to rock. Probably because I had such an emotional time watching the Giants. I actually didn't finish the Sunday Night Football game. I had to rewatch it this morning. I was too tired from watching the Giants almost kill me once again. Talk to me about Hour of the Dad. Like, what is Hour of the Dad?
So Hour of the Dad, what it actually is for you folks out there, is it's between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. every day. And that is the time in which your wife's asleep and your kids are asleep and they can't get you. Meaning that at that time period, you can do whatever you want. Because usually if you have kids and they've gotten up in the middle of the night, it's usually before that. So it could be 2 a.m. Like my son was up at 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday, peed himself right through his bed. I had to change everything. Okay. So everything. But then he went back to bed and I know he's good. He's going to be asleep. My wife loves to sleep. There's no chance. An asteroid could hit my house and she's going to be asleep. So from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., I am up. I will respond to you if you tweet me. And I think I like to catch people off guard during the Hour of the Dad as well. Like you're up at 3:40 something, right? Or whatever it may be. You throw up a tweet. It's only been up for 55 seconds and all Nicky the Good's in your comments, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just a fun thing where it's like, oh shit, he's up too. And that came from my paternity leave. I just had, my son is only 8 months old.
Yes.
So you just learn not to sleep for the first year of their life.
Yeah.
So like I only sleep like 4 hours a night anyway. So I'm always up. I'm always available.
Yeah.
So I just came up with this concept that I thought I could connect with people that are going through the same thing. And then, you get people that are like, oh man, like I'm not alone. Like I'm holding my 2-month-old, feeding him, but I know Nicky's up. And I'll get like a tweet at me like, hey, like, we're up. It's the Hour of the Dad. We made it. I'm like, yeah, man, what's going on? Yeah, so just like fun little shtick that I just think Twitter to me should be fun. You tweeted that the other day. I think, or you mentioned it on your last show. You said Twitter's meant to be fun. It's not meant to just argue nonstop. Arguing can be fun, but sometimes these people just take it too crazy. For me, I just want to have fun.
Yeah, if you're going on Twitter every day and like looking for arguments, looking for negativity, like one, you're miserable in your real life, because Twitter should be a source of entertainment. It's a lot of why you don't see me on Twitter doing a lot of my analysis, posting a lot of my picks. Like, come watch my fucking show. If you want to do that, you go to my Twitter for the fun. You get the link to be able to find where I post all that stuff, where I'm, what I'm doing. But I was like that too. When I first started on Twitter, I was never sleeping. Like it was a whole thing where, during the day, actually doing content, studying for school. And then I always knew, you would be up. There'd be people that were always up. And it's like, oh, we're all, exhausted together. And it's it's actually a very fun time on Twitter. Not that I'm like condoning not sleeping, but if you do find yourself in a spot where you're not asleep, like you can probably find, myself, Nicky on Twitter.
It's also voids of content, right? Like I saw that there was during my paternity leave, there's a void of content in the wee hours of the morning. Now I'm not talking 8 a.m. I'm talking like there are people up at 5 a.m. Yeah. And I would put up an hour of the dad, like it was just like a photo of myself or me with like my 2 kids' monitors. Like I think it was like the Batman thing where I did the silhouette with the coffee. Like I'm the guardian, asleep, right? A watchful protector. I checked my phone. I had like 110 likes, like quote tweets. Yeah. And it's just, you just people who, they get it. And the worst part, and you'll this about tweeting though, is like you have all these great tweets in your head, but it's like 5:45 in the morning and you're like, I want to send this, but it's so good. I need to wait till 9. That's the struggle.
Yeah. But honestly, like even this morning, I just couldn't fucking help myself. Like I just did it. I didn't care. I just rip them out. Like if you see them, then you see them. Like I'm not trying to break the algorithm that way. Like sometimes I'll try to hold off as long as I can. It's very hard when you have a good tweet in, you save it to drafts. I normally forget about it though, because I'm too much of a space cadet when it comes to that. Okay, couple questions before I let you go. One is, what is your perfect Sunday? Like, what's the perfect Sunday for a dad? So like, we'll do during football season. Like, it starts an hour of the dad. What does that day look like?
I actually love like if one of the kids has like a soccer or my son has like gymnastic or like gymnastics. It's like he goes to like the little gym and he rolls around. I like doing that. Like the shtick of the hour of the dad. I love being a dad. Like it is so much fun. Yeah. Like it's difficult, but like if you just engage with it, like it's awesome. Yeah. I love when the kids have something around like 11 o'clock that gets me to that 1 o'clock. Then my wife will typically take my kids. Some weeks she'll go away for the 1 o'clock slate if it's the Giants. Yeah, whatever the Giants are on, she'll take the kids out for that slate. Smart. And I'll have like 3 to 4 hours to myself.
Beautiful. And
then the kids come back and like I have all the energy in the world to kind of like do that. And then typically I'll get like leftovers from Sunday dinner at my in-laws, or if it's the 1 o'clock, or if they're playing 4:25, I'll go to my in-laws at 1 o'clock. So Sunday to me is very much family day with a just sprinkle of like a football and fantasy sports right now. I like to keep it nice and easy. I'll work out in the morning, maybe like before the kids thing. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. Like it's we're Italian, so it's like it's a family thing. Sundays is a day where everyone gets together. And it's like you just kind of block out the rest of the world, and it's just like, this is family time. We're just going to eat and make life simple. That to me is like the perfect Sunday. Yeah,
Sundays are my holy days, and I think a lot of that is just being raised Italian. And like Sundays was like go to grandma's house. You're there from like literally we eat very early. You're there all day. Usually warm ups and leftovers before heading home. But like Sundays are so sacred to me. Like do not interrupt my Sundays. Do not have a Sunday wedding. I'm not fucking coming. Like. It's a holy day for me. I want to stuff my face. Calories don't count. I want to watch football. I want to take a nap if I want to take a nap. That's my reset for the week. Like Sundays are important.
When I first started dating my wife, I started going to all of a sudden in the first 2 years of like dating, like we had all these baptisms on Sundays. And, I'm American to her. My wife's a first generation Italian. So like that stuff is non-negotiable. Like you're going to the baptism on a Sunday. You're going you're doing this. So I would just have my phone with like in the pew, saying an Our Father, watching. I remember watching Alvin Kamara drop 6 touchdowns. And I was just like, this was like, she was like, why are you so happy? I was like, don't worry about it.
You're at a funeral, like
touchdowns. So, shout out! I got a note in the chat says Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
that's actually no holds barred. Yeah, rip them. Yeah,
damn that's right. The whole thing. Tell them a little bit about your podcast and like the whole thing before I start letting you get out of here.
Yeah, the Me Pop Express. We are professional wrestling's most famous wrestling journalist. Is me and Big Trouble Ben Bishop. He's 6'12", legit. And he's 15% of a metric ton. He's an independent pro wrestler. I used to run wrestling over at Barstool. So anything you saw from that account, anything wrestling related at Barstool has come from this brain. right here. That's this guy. And that's a shoot. But as soon as kind of like, I went my own way, we started the Meat Pop Express, which is just us being like vintage 80s pro wrestlers, but we're journalists. And we go around to all the independent scenes. We do interviews with the fans. We do Man on the Street. We got some interviews coming up. And we're every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere you can see us. And it's just a great time. We don't make it negative. We just make it positive, get a little nostalgic, and just shoot the shit. It's a good time.
It's awesome. I don't even understand it, but I still watch it because it's so entertaining.
That's all the comments I get. They're like, I don't watch wrestling, but I saw you.
What's going on? But I'm laughing. It's
so you interviewing that guy, and I just thought it was great. I'm like I brought the sign that said he came from Australia, but I made the sign and I interviewed him, and I was like, you got to use an Australian accent when I interview. That's the deal. He's like, I'm down. So yeah, that's the Meat Pop Express. That's my little wrestling side project that I do.
That's awesome. And I like the ones where you do side by side, like you're acting like you're in the video. Do you know what I'm talking about?
My wife left the house for 2 minutes. I'm a man of many gimmicks. If you go to my Twitter and you just search if you just search videos and my name, you're gonna see a lot of stuff. Just say. But there's one that I just reenact videos. I use household items to reenact iconic wrestling events.
So funny. Like
sliding down my driveway on an ironing board.
Your attic ladder. There's some good ones on there.
Yeah, the attic ladder. There's a bunch. I encourage everyone to search. My wife left the house for 2 minutes. Nicky the Good. It's also on my TikTok at Nicky the Good. They're all housed there as well if you want to check those out.
And I can we'll put them in the that description area so that you guys can find it. Do you have any feelings about tonight's games? Are you invested in other games like this?
I mean, if I have someone I hold back a little bit because I'm busy. Like I'm with the kids on Sunday, so it's tough for me to engage as much as I want on Twitter. But I legitimately am a psychopath when it comes to fantasy. So if I don't have anyone in there tonight, I'm playing against David Njoku, but he needs like 25 points in order to beat me. So that's probably not going to happen. But if there's a player involved on a Monday, I would be locked in.
Oh yeah.
Because if I lose in my home league, if I lose a fantasy matchup, it legitimately bothers me. I will it'll take me at least 2 days to get over it. We're pretty much, guys bust each other's balls. It's bragging rights. I do not want to lose to my buddies. So, but other than fantasy, I don't have much investment because gambling, I just can't do it anymore. It's just too much on the brain, man, at once. So I just try and keep it simple to fantasy.
Yeah, I fucked up. Well, I wasn't going to tell everyone yet for the people that have been listening and know I'm in this league. So I thought it would be a really good idea to make an all women's league at home and commissioner it. And I'm like, this will be so fun. The draft was hilarious. The way the girls were drafting, whatever. I am 0-2. I am not amused, to be completely honest. I am 0-2. I think I have Saints D left. I don't think that they'll be able to pull off exactly what I need. But I lost the first week because I had 2 goose eggs from Drake London and Chig. Same thing this week with I forget who. I was gonna update everyone once I figured it out, but I'm not amused because now this was supposed to be so that everyone went and did it themselves, and now the boyfriends are getting involved because I'm they're picking up people, and I'm
they know they don't know who.
I'm Mitch, you motherfucker. I know that was you. That was she wasn't the one that did that. But so I'll probably change some of the rules next year about how we do waivers. But it's fun. Get very, very competitive about it. Before I let you go, best piece of marriage advice.
Best piece of marriage. Is it just in general marriage or for husbands particular?
Husbands specifically, dads, husbands.
Yeah, so there's always the expression of happy wife, happy life. And that is true. But what I would say is wives have the tendency to just ask you to do things that they could easily do themselves. For example, if my wife is 2 feet from a water bottle and she wants to take a sip out of that water bottle and I'm a mile away, she will ask me to go get that water bottle for her and bring it to her. Just do it. Don't argue, just do it and move on with your day. Do not ask, just get yourself used to saying just yes to any and all tasks. If it's not financially going to put you in peril, just say yes and move on. That's it. That is the key, is just say yes. Don't try and be all macho. Don't think it's got to be equal, because it's not. They run the coop, you say yes, and then you get your 4 hours on Sunday to watch some football. That's just the way it is, and I think I'm doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're a fantastic husband and dad. I am very sure. I'm sure you saw Bill Belichick take the challenge flag out, and when he threw it down, and I said, that's like when I say I'm not mad, but I am, and I start slamming things, and
my daughter goes, she goes, no, I talk first. You're not listening. You're not listening.
I love it. You're the best, Nicky. I'll let you get out of here. If you guys haven't followed him, go on Twitter at Nicky the Good. You can find all of his stuff there. Be sure to like, subscribe to this channel as well as his. Hopefully the Giants don't break our hearts the rest of the season, but we'll have to get you back on soon.
Thanks, Steph. It was an honor, a privilege, and I wish you nothing but success.
Yes, you're the best. Love you. See ya.
Bye.
And producer Ryan.
Yeah. Hey. Good show.
You ditched me last week.
I ditched you on Friday. I'm sorry. I had an appointment with a meditation therapist, which was very interesting. Getting my life together. And I just so you know, I put blue lights behind me today for your Giants because they beat my Cardinals. And yeah, that was a rough game for me to watch.
I don't know how. I texted Ryan. It was 7 minutes into the first quarter. Hey, I'm going to go pull some timestamps so that we can get together a shorts of me saying that the Giants were going to lose all week. Like I was not amused yesterday. Let me tell you, it was absolutely brutal. I was doing anything I could. I'm like, I changed my shirt. I took my rings off. Like I put my cross back on that I had taken off during the weekend. Like I was doing anything to hopefully will a win. It did happen. It doesn't feel great. I'm still thinking about the first half, but it is what it is.
So my friends are blaming me because I watched the game up until the end of the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, when it really started to turn around, I had to go to the airport to fly back to Phoenix because I was in San Francisco. So it was my fault because I left watching the game. So
well, my witch voodoo outdid your witch voodoo, so it doesn't matter. We were still winning no matter what. I was going crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Let's get to some questions.
Let's get to some questions. First question from Twitter. Should the Giants trade for Cam Akers while Saquon is banged up? That's from Trevor Tipton.
Trevor Tipton is fantastic. No, they shouldn't. I think that the Vikings have their eyes on Cam Akers. I don't have a lot of reason to think that. Maybe a few little birdies, but something is telling me that the Vikings are going to be interested in Cam Akers. Was a little bit annoyed that he was, a healthy scratch. I think that tells us that they're going to be trading him somewhere. I think they've already been in talks with probably a couple.
They were trying to trade him last year.
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of rude. I know that Cam Akers hasn't been what everyone wanted him to be, and I think the expectations for him were already set way too high. But I'd rather the Giants go look at a guy like Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette, someone like that. I think that Saquon is going to be okay though. After rewatching the injury, I know I drunkenly was like, I don't know. I haven't been in school in a while, but looks high ankle-y or calf. Not really sure. I think he'll be okay, but I think for longevity for the rest of the season, still looking at, a vet like Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette is a good idea. But no, I don't want Cam Akers on the Giants. It's not, I don't know that. No, thank you.
I think that's a good call.
You give me the Vikings problem.
Rick from Vegas says, when will you be moving here?
I basically live there part-time, so I don't know. I already missed Circa. It's getting very cold here, so we'll see when I can make my next trip out there.
Mr. September asked, do Bears fan regret gassing up Justin Fields for no reason?
Gassing is such a funny word. I don't know why it is a funny word. The Bears organization, Dave Kluge tweeted out something fantastic. If you want to follow him on Twitter, he tweeted it out probably a couple hours ago. The Bears organization does a phenomenal, take that for what it is, job at destroying quarterbacks. Like they are not even attempting to put Justin Fields in the right situations. Justin Fields has no pocket presence. Very worried about this team if I was a Chicago Bears fan. But I don't think they're setting Fields up to have a ton of success either. Having 3 design run plays for him yesterday is pretty just inexcusable, especially given his talent. So I don't know what's going to happen to the Bears. I feel very sad for Bears fans because I can't imagine, like, I sit here and pout and scream and throw things and get pissed off on Sundays at the Giants, but I saw 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime and I've seen the Giants have success. And while they haven't, done their best with Daniel Jones, I think I'm seeing very similar stuff to, the Giants of a couple of years ago. So I don't think it's time to write him off, but the play calling is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, final few questions. This is a big one from Trevor Coleman.
Trevor!
Are we trading Breece Hall because Zach Wilson is only good at banging moms?
Very funny. No, they are going to have to. At the end of the day, they're going to have to run the ball if the Jets want to stay in this, because Zach Wilson's going to struggle passing, as we've seen him do, unless they figure out someone else to come and Band-Aid. I don't know what type of drugs Aaron Rodgers is on right now. I don't know if this was a painkiller thing that he thinks that he's going to come back for playoffs. If he does that, I will be amazed. Like, I will start doing mushrooms.
Everybody will be
every
amazed.
single fucking day, because that would be remarkable. I think that Breece Hall, I tweeted about this. Everyone's so quick to start victory lapping. Oh, look, Breece wasn't good this week. It's been 2 weeks. This is the smallest sample size ever. We're not getting rid of Breece Hall.
Speaking of small sample sizes, are we selling high on Nico Collins or writing it out?
Heck no, we're writing it out. Nico Collins, again, if you watch the prop show, he was one of them. He went over that very, very easy. His receiving yards, he's proving to be a very, very nice fantasy asset. He's probably going to finish inside the top 10 wide receivers this week, if not higher. He might be even top 6 looking at. I haven't looked at those numbers yet, but you're holding on Nico Collins for sure.
Yeah, especially for where they drafted him. Like, that's a great spot.
I also like what I'm seeing out of Stroud. I think that Stroud is going to be very good in this league.
Is Nelson Aguilar a legit ad?
Trevor, get the fuck out of here. No, he's not a legit ad. What are we doing here? No. We got to sometimes you just got to let it go. Just let it go. He's someone we got to let go, sadly. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's it for questions. I wanted to jump on something that Nicky the Good said, though, with take it from a guy who is going through a divorce right now for marriage advice. So that thing in your head, guys, that you think is going to be funny, don't say it. Never say it. Just say no to that thing you think in your head. It's going to 90% of the time just cause a fight, because when you're married a long time, they get real annoyed with your humor, quote unquote humor.
Yeah. The thing is, we're already annoyed with you is the thing. Like, it doesn't even, and then you add the humor. It's not funny at all. All right. Great show, guys. If you're still watching, subscribe, honestly, comment your first touchdown play. I'm going to post the rest of my plays on Twitter, the ones I finally decided on, and we'll be back Wednesday. And that's it.
Get out of here.
Watch him make it, break it, break it, break it.